We're back with Alden Chodash of AldenBoxing.com. This past Saturday, Alden, HBO, it was Jermaine Taylor, an easy victory over Jeff Lacy. Let's start with Lacy. Where does his career go from here?
It goes nowhere. I think he should end his career, to make it simple. To summarize the fight, it was impressive for the most part for Taylor when he wasn't holding. That was a big chunk of the fight was spent with Taylor holding, and it was really a question mark why he was doing that. Whenever he opened up on the offensive, he had results. He hurt Lacy early in the fight, wobbled him, and was able to keep Lacy on the defensive whenever he opened up. I don't know why he spent so much of his time holding, but yeah, Lacy hurt him during the fight. But when Taylor opened up, Lacy was primarily on the defensive, and he spent a little too much time holding for his offensive success.
Don't you think you fight differently when you're fighting a friend, a good friend? Do you think that had any factor?
I don't know. It seemed like he started holding down the stretch of the fight, so it probably was because maybe fatigue, which I doubt, or it could have been more likely the fact that he was hurt by Lacy and almost went down by right hand by Lacy in the middle round of the fight.
Yeah, and Taylor, how do you rate his performance? I know Larry Merchant was glowing. What about you?
Yeah, he looked pretty good. When he threw the jab, it was, I mean, once again, in the earlier portion of the fight, he looked very good. He looked good with his combinations, and even the fact that he was holding, as Emmanuel Stewart said, showed some seasoning. Harold Letterman implied that he was technically or tactically holding just to frustrate Lacy. It was frustrating me, actually, watching the fight, but if that was the case, he did show some seasoning in that way.
Okay. I'm sure it's not going to happen, but you said when I asked you last week, how do you beat a Joe Calzaghe, you mentioned you got to go 12 hard rounds, a lot of athleticism. These are things that Jermaine brings to the table. If they were to get it on soon, does Jermaine have any chance against Calzaghe?
I don't really see Jermaine Taylor fighting 12 hard rounds. That really wasn't the case with Jeff Lacy, who doesn't put that much pressure on you, especially compared to Joe Calzaghe, where he does put pressure on you, but not the high. He doesn't put the amount of punches on you as Calzaghe does. He has punches flying from everywhere. So therefore, Jermaine Taylor would look less energetic than he did against Jeff Lacy, who was more stationary.
Right. Okay. Moving on to this week's action. Showbox on Friday. Steve Molitor, Celestino Cabellero, junior featherweight matchup. I think you said Cabellero has the edge here?
I'm not sure. Caballero is definitely not the better technical fighter. Steve Molitor is pretty good. He's solid technically, but he's giving away a lot of size to a guy that everybody gives away size to, at least in this weight. Caballero, who's also a bigger puncher. He usually finds a way to win fights.
That is who?
Caballero. Although Molitor, I think, is unbeaten. Caballero has been beaten before, but he finds a way to pull things out. But he's shown some trouble against technically solid fighters in the past. One of his fights on Showtime, he narrowly won the fight. Molitor probably is going to pull it out with his better boxing skills, since it's a big fight, and Caballero's definitely vulnerable to guys that can box.
Okay. Saturday, HBO, Ricky Hatton, Malignaggi. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's going to win this fight?
That's a really tough call. I'm going to pick Hatton. He has more experience. He has more experience in bigger fights. He has more experience with different styles. Malignaggi is used to countering guys on the way in, and it's, in a way, if you think of the fight, that's exactly what he wants, a guy like Hatton that's going to come rushing in. But Hatton's a little quicker than a lot of Malignaggi's opponents. He's not love more and do. He's quick. He'll probably be very motivated for this fight, given that's probably going to be one of his last big opportunities in his career. If he doesn't win this fight, his career is definitely going to go downhill. He's going to come in motivated. He's quick. He moves his head a little bit. He throws a lot of punches. It should be pretty close. Malignaggi's got good skills, but I think Hatton's going to put a little too much pressure on him and going to win the majority of the rounds.
Okay. How does Paulie win the fight, though?
Just the way that he's been winning fights, catching Hatton on the way in with his jab, but he's also got to open up combinations a little bit to get Hatton's respect and also to score with other punches beside the jab, so he can give Hatton another look in there.
Did you see the Cotto-Malignaggi fight?
No, I saw highlights of it.
I'm just wondering how Paulie won 4 rounds in that fight.
Cotto won the fight because of his aggressiveness, but Malignaggi won rounds when Cotto, it looked like he took a little too much of a defensive posture and that Malignaggi opened up. Malignaggi fought with a lot of guts. He's also able to catch Cotto with some shots on the way in, but for the most part, Malignaggi took advantage of Cotto when he covered up a little bit too much. And he showed a lot of guts in that fight, and he's going to have to show a lot of guts against Hatton.
Okay, and Wolf in the corner of James Kirkland. He's on the undercard of that fight, the Hatton fight. Kirkland takes on Brian Vera, who comes off the smashing upset win over Andy Lee. Kirkland stays undefeated?
Yeah, he probably should stay undefeated, but if the fight goes into the later rounds, which Kirkland has very little experience in, especially against better fighters, it could be a toss-up fight. Early in the fight, it could also be a toss-up fight because Vera throws punches and Kirkland gets sloppy. He likes to knock guys out. He likes to throw a lot of punches. He can get caught with some punches, and Vera's not a huge puncher, but if you get caught with some good punches, you could be in trouble. And Kirkland's been down in the early rounds before. But for the main thing, I'd like to see him get extended and see how he responds over the distance. He's won fights that went the distance, but Brian Vera is known to get stronger down the stretch, and he's better than most fighters that Kirkland's been up against.
Yeah, you got a lot of question marks on James Kirkland, don't you?
Yeah, a lot, definitely.
Okay, so maybe we'll answer some of those questions.
Yeah, but he's fun to watch, and that's unfortunately what most people just care about.
Right, last 4 fights have gone within 2 rounds, so it could end early. Or we could answer some questions.
Yeah, Brian Vera's been knocked out early on the contender in front of, actually it's how a lot of people know him against Jadon Carterton. He was knocked out in 2 rounds, which is a very likely outcome.
Okay. Oscar says he will be only satisfied if he knocks out Manny Pacquiao. First of all, bizarre, isn't it? Is this bizarre? Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya.
It really is. This it really can't be real. It has to be a dream match. And even in my dreams, I never would think of this fight. This fight would never come to my head.
If you were playing Fight Night Round 3, would you ever match Manny Pacquiao and Oscar De La Hoya?
No. It would be a mismatch in a video game. You'd never think of this fight.
I mean, no offense to Manny, who I think you agree is the bet, at least now.
I think he's better pound for pound.
Pound for pound, clearly better than Oscar. Maybe ever?
Not clearly, but
Not
I think he's better than Oscar De La Hoya. I think he's going to go down as a better fighter than Oscar De La Hoya.
Okay. And is that this fight coming up important to solidify that? I mean, if he goes the distance...
If he beats Oscar De La Hoya under these circumstances, there's no doubt he's the better fighter.
Right. Okay. And is he considered an all-time great if he does this?
Definitely. This is the cream of the crop. This is everything.
This is...
But this is not Manny Pacquiao's career, on the other hand. This is... If he loses this fight, he really has nothing to lose.
Right. So and Oscar's had everything to lose, though.
And Oscar's got everything to lose.
Right. How can Oscar look good in this fight?
He's got to... the only way he can look good is if he scores a spectacular knockout. I mean, the fans would love to see a great knockout, especially on this stage, regardless of the the fact that, in a way, it could be meaningless, considering that Pacquiao is so much smaller physically and that he started his career at 106, which has been tossed around rapidly among boxing experts. But yeah, he's got to knock Pacquiao out, or he's got to do what he's supposed to do. He's got to show that he is so much bigger and that he just has the ability to knock guys out that are naturally smaller. He's got to go in there and do his job, basically.
But you don't think Manny's going to rush in and Oscar's going to...
That's his only chance. Manny Pacquiao can't do anything but rush in unless a guy's coming after him. I think Manny's going to push the fight probably. He's going to try his best, and he's probably going to get hit with some big shots.
But how about if he has the stance and the attitude that he had against David Diaz?
De La Hoya is not David Diaz.
Yeah, but maybe they're going to look at each other all night.
If that's... I doubt that's going to be the case under these...
Who presses the fight then?
Under just considering how big this fight is, I think Manny Pacquiao is going to press the fight, and De La Hoya is going to throw a lot of punches with him.